screens or devices are just tools. You can think about it from something similar like a knife, where how you use it is what matters. And so in a very big way, whether it is the devices or whether it is the connectivity, these are actually opportunities for us to utilize in a productive manner to enhance learning. I remember several years ago when Kindle just came out, thinking that, will I ever read a book from a device? Today, I use Kindle a lot. I read books on my device. But would I use the same device to read along with my grandchild a picture book? I would not. The experience of reading for myself on the device versus the experience of reading for my child, there is a degree of appropriateness in one case. There's something that is not quite as productive in the other case. The element that we have to be concerned about is this idea that we talk about, which is called stimulus. Now you have to look at the fact that when invariably we use our devices, invariably we are always screening a lot of moving visuals. So whether it's an animated cartoon or whether it is a game, in both cases you are actually bombarding the child with stimulus that stops the child from thinking. This is something that we call a zombie state, where the creator thinks for you and the learner does not think at all. Would you rather have your child kicking a football on the field or kicking a football on a device? So this is the question that you must ask. At the same time, when we look at the idea of the visual bombardment that our children are subject to, we must keep in mind that it substantially diminishes the capacity and the possibility that our other sensory organs represent. Specifically for the purposes of learning, the three elements that are most critical are the visual, auditory and kinesthetic processes. And the more that we actually engage all of these senses in the act of learning, the more effective the learning is and the more healthy the learning is. So this whole idea of addiction to a device is something that needs to be looked at very carefully and needs to be avoided. But that doesn't really mean that the device is at fault or that the visual itself is at fault. There are many cases where visuals actually provide optimal stimulus. So depending on the stage at which the child is, depending on what is it that we are learning, depending on what our end goal is, you use these devices, you use the content, you use the sensory organs with a fine understanding of the balance that is required for that learning experience. It is not an easy balance to achieve. When we talk about under-stimulus, optimal stimulus and over-stimulus, it is easier said than done to achieve that optimal stimulus and requires a lot of work by people who understand learning at a neurological level and at a practical level and understand the idea of creating the content that is apt for that learner.